Okay.
What's up, everybody? This is the Four Horsemen Fantasy Football Podcast, minus one horseman. My name is Josh Romine. Joined with me tonight, I have Alex Deviney Stoner. What's up, dude?
How's it going?
Great. I got Brent Walker. How are you, sir?
Hey, fellow horsemen.
There it is. And we're a short one, Josh Van Cleef, but the show must go on. We are going to be previewing Week 5, talking a little fantasy stock watch on some players that are trending up or down. We'll do our DFS segment. And first of all, I'm going to lead in with my random question of the night. It's something that I've been thinking about lately. How many hours of sleep do you guys get a night? On average.
Well, now since I am currently unemployed, I get, I'd say probably 6. It used to be 3.5, 4, and I was totally fine with that. I'm actually more tired now with 7 to 8 hours of sleep than I was with 3 to 4.
Really?
But, yeah.
Brent, how much do you get?
Not very much at all. I would say it ranges anywhere from 4 to 7, but it's never consistent on any consecutive day. It might be 4 hours one night, 3.5 the next, 7.5 the next, then back down to 4. Like, it's never the same.
Are there people that actually like legitimately get like 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night? Like, is that a real thing?
Well, that's a thing for retired people.
What about normal people?
I mean, I don't know. For the most part, I know a lot of people that, you know, they go to bed at 10 o'clock, 10:30.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
I can't imagine.
I can't go to sleep. I mean, kids or no kids. I don't even think it's necessarily kids, because I mean, yeah, your kids will cut off your sleeping in time dramatically.
Right.
But I mean, you could always add that at the back end. But I mean, you know, my daughter goes to sleep. I'm up till 12, 1 o'clock. I don't care. I mean, I care when she comes in and wakes me up. I'm pissed. But I mean, as far as going to bed, it's kind of my fault. But
I've been really trying to talk myself into going to bed earlier, and it doesn't happen. I stay up, I watch TV. I start watching Narcos, so now that's got me addicted. And I always find something I'd rather do than sleep. So I was just curious how many hours you guys got.
I hear people that have a very consistent sleep cycle are the most healthy, but at the same time, like I could probably sleep all day if I could. I literally could sleep all day.
Yeah.
When I hit about 10 o'clock, I start feeling bad about myself, and so I like start forcing myself to get up if I am able to do that. But I get actually depressed if I sleep in too late.
Yeah, dude. Not me. I could sleep until noon. If my kids would let me, I'd sleep way in. 49ers just scored a touchdown, by the way, in case anybody cares. But I don't even know. Blaine Gabbert threw it amazingly. I don't know how that happened.
I'm live streaming it on Twitter right now, and it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's because Twitter sucks.
It's coming.
Oh, Twitter doesn't suck. Twitter's great.
How far of a delay is this?
I don't know, but
Twitter,
like
live stream.
Well, but the live stream on Sling is like 10 seconds behind. Like, you guys were texting things that were happening, and then it would be 20, 30 seconds even behind.
It was Curly, by the way. Just a little.
He had a big game last week.
He's better than Torrey Smith.
Yeah, he is.
Let's go ahead and get into our fantasy stock watch. Stock is up on Tom Brady. Brady's coming back from his Deflategate suspension to charge up the NFL's 27th ranked passing offense. This should help players like Julian Edelman and hopefully Gronk, if he can stay healthy, who have disappointed owners through the first 4 games. You guys pretty pumped up for Brady coming back?
As fantasy owners, yes. Yeah. As a human being, no.
No. Me too.
I mean, honestly, but at the same time, the fact that they're 3-1 pisses me off.
Mm-hmm.
Like that pisses me off anyway. So I'm glad that he's there, so then I can have a reason as to why that they're still good. I don't want to hear Belichick is the greatest coach of all time. It's like, okay, well, all of your Super Bowls have asterisks at the end, so whatever. Fuck that guy.
I hate the Patriots, but like I talked myself into a lot of Tom Brady this offseason because I figured he's going to come back playing angry, and he opens against the Browns.
Yeah.
You can't get too much better than a start like that. So
yeah, but here's the one thing though, is that fall off year is coming. This would be a perfect scenario of the fall off year. It's like, oh, okay, he didn't have the first 4 games, he couldn't get in a rhythm. It took him another 4 or 5 games to get into back to a rhythm. That kind of thing. Like I could see something like that happening, but I don't think it's going to.
Yeah, Brent, what do you think?
I just love it for all the skill position players mainly. I didn't take a lot of stock into Brady this year. Like, I don't know. He was supposed to be this complete god last year fantasy wise and really kind of let people down a little bit, especially in the second half of the season. But this season, I almost think it's almost like a smoke screen. Everyone saw, I guess, what the Patriots' low could be last week against Buffalo, and it's like this perfect storm that I don't think is going to be a perfect storm by any means.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Do you think that LeGarrette Blount loses some of his value? I mean, they were running him into the ground, and at some point, I just think that he's not consistent enough to be as consistent as he's been. If that makes sense.
I think he maintains good value, probably running back 2 or 3 going forward, but you could also see the Patriots getting up real big and then just riding him into the ground in the fourth quarter.
That's
so
true.
He could still produce a lot of 100-yard games just if they're up big on teams.
Well, and why not run him into the ground? You know what I mean? Like, I think he's
outside of the Patriots, I don't think anybody signs him. I mean,
Blount?
Yeah. I mean, if they dropped him right now, I don't think anybody would pick him up.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean, but he's dealing with a hip issue right now too, so I don't know. He's got a history of that, so we'll see what happens. But Brady's back. Gronk said he doesn't care about his fantasy owners, and Julian Edelman is still kind of up in the air lately, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, Gronk doesn't care about fantasy owners, but I guarantee you that Gronk does care about what his end numbers are.
He should.
He's a bro. I mean, come on.
He talks a big game when it's. I can't stand him. Let's move on to the next piece of news. Stock is down on Latavius Murray. Reports coming out of Oakland are that their starting running back will miss this week's contest against San Diego. That will leave Oakland's 5th-ranked rushing attack in the hands of 6-year veteran Taiwan Jones, who has 1 carry for -1 yards, and rookies DeAndre Washington, who's 23 for 147, and Jalen Richard, who is 17 for 144 with a long touchdown. Taiwan Jones, don't really care much about.
He's still listed as the 2nd.
Yeah,
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I don't think that probably holds too much stock.
He hasn't had a single touch since week 1, so I don't understand. I don't understand why he, at least RotoWire still has him listed as number 2.
Yeah. This San Diego was a good game script for Murray coming in there to set him up to see some success. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think about how this backfield's going to play out this week?
I'm kind of interested to see, honestly, which one of those 2 rookies. I mean, you read the stat lines; they're pretty much the same right now. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot of talk about Washington, but I could totally see Richard taking over as well. I kind of figured this would happen with Latavius Murray. There's just some lack of staying power that he just whether he gets injured or he just his play, it just seems like he's not a full season kind of guy.
Yeah, he's dealing with turf toe, which is kind of like a nagging injury too. Brent, what you taking either of those guys, picking them up off the waiver wire, starting them this week?
I mean, if anyone was to drop Latavius Murray, I gladly pick them up.
Well, yeah.
Don't drop him.
Yeah, don't drop him.
Don't drop Latavius Murray. But no, I think DeAndre Washington, I think he's a good play this week. I think he's going to pretty much maintain the 1st and 2nd down role. I think Jalen Richard, from hearing, is probably going to be the 3rd down back, but he might come in to spell a couple series from DeAndre Washington. But I'm starting DeAndre Washington in quite a few leagues.
Are you?
Yeah.
I got him in a
the
couple.
matchup is great. The matchup is great
It's-
for this to happen. And the fact that it's against such a weak defense right now, it makes me think that if one of these guys do blow up, it's going to be even less work for Latavius Murray going forward.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Yeah,
They're going to be a committee for the rest of the year, regardless. And you know what I mean? Like, that's how it's been playing out. And like you said, I don't even really think it matters how this game plays out. I think it's going to be a committee for the rest of the year. I don't think anybody's going to step in and really take over the role
I don't know.
unless somebody
I
gets
don't
put
know.
on IR. I don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. I mean, yeah, all right. This is kind of that situation where somebody gets put on IR. But if he's out a couple of weeks, let's say, and one of those guys starts running, I think they give it to that one guy. I think it's going to be. It could be a situation like what you had in Arizona last year, where Chris Johnson goes down. They put in David Johnson and never look back.
Yeah,
I mean that was my thought about the Raiders and Denver.
yeah.
I'm 1-1 so far, as far as like getting that backup, that kind of like flashy rookie, getting him some extended time. So.
Well, the thing is, the Raiders are such a timeshare there in the backfield. They're one of those teams like Miami where it's hard to start anyone, or Baltimore. Or, it's hard to start any one of those running backs because you just don't know. You don't know who's going to get the most touches, who's going to get the most snaps, who's going to get the most targets, anything.
I mean, Murray had been scoring touchdowns in every week so far, start the season, right? Like this would, if he would have scored one this week.
But I mean, he had 3 carries for 22 yards and a touchdown one week. It's like 3 carries. You're a starting running back for a team.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, the Raiders hate him. It's clear. The Raiders
Del Rio
like
hates him.
He just doesn't. He talked a lot of good stuff about him too, and then now he's pulling back on it. He's like, oh wait, pump the brakes.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, next piece of news is on a player that's actually not going, but should be going in the game tonight. Stocks down on Carson Palmer. Palmer is currently in the NFL's concussion protocol, and he missed tonight. So the Cardinals are starting Drew Stanton. Lucky them. And Carson's put up a couple stinkers right in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Is he just old? What is it? Falling apart?
I mean,
are the Cardinals good?
They should be.
Yeah, I haven't looked at.
I mean, granted, they've got that terrible wide receiver. What's his name? Michael Floyd or something like that. That garbage player.
I can't quit you.
I mean, honestly, I think the fact is that this is kind of what I say about a lot of teams, is that they're getting done in by their own hubris. They believe that they can install a 36-year-old quarterback and just hope that he's going to be great forever, because they haven't drafted it like a decent backup. Like, look at all of those quarterbacks. Yeah. All those quarterbacks that are now starting in the NFL. They could have had any of them and groomed them. I mean, I don't know. You can't just sit back and rely on a 36-year-old guy and not do anything about it. Like, what are they hoping to do? Like, are they hoping that one year he falls off and they're absolutely dreadful so they get a top 5 pick?
Right.
Like, you need somebody back there. You know that Stanton's not going to be the next guy up. You've tried him out a million times even before Palmer was there. I just don't understand.
Yeah, Palmer has for real disappointed this year so far. He's had one good game, I think.
Yeah.
He's not getting the touchdowns. He's throwing interceptions. They're not sustaining drives by any means. David Johnson's looked great.
Oh, amazing.
They're giving him 20, 25 carries a game.
Yeah.
I think they almost need to give him more just to keep the ball moving.
Honestly, he's as far as I'm concerned, as a David Johnson owner, he's underperforming from just the aspect that this offense should be on all cylinders, that they should be running out the clock halfway through the game. You should have 120 yards almost every game.
I in one league I took a lot of stock in Palmer in a lot of drafts, MFLs and everything, but I just dropped him in one league and picked up Andy Dalton as my starting quarterback. I can't keep going on with this Palmer train that it's not even, it's a very short train now. So
Yeah, I had Matt Ryan, so I was like, forget it. I'm done with Palmer.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's disappointing. Their whole offense has been kind of disappointing. Like you said, even David Johnson, who's looked like a stud, like when you're watching him play, he looks great. It's just kind of still not what you expected.
Yeah.
So, well, hopefully Palmer can come out of the concussion protocol. They were saying it was going to be close. Like they've been talking up until the start of the game. I don't know if it really was or if that was just coach speak trying to, keep people on their toes. But hopefully he can get through it. And because I like Carson Palmer, I still like him in that offense. I still like their talent that they have. I still think that he could be a good fantasy quarterback. But this has definitely got to get you worrying. Like Brent was saying, if somebody's dropping them and you have a roster spot, I don't have a problem picking them up on there and keeping him and seeing what he does. But if you need that roster spot, go ahead and drop him. He's the quarterback level, like replacement level right there. You could roll out Brian Hoyer this week. You're going to get more points than you would get starting Carson Palmer. So
yeah.
But all right, let's go ahead and move it on to our Week 5 preview. But before I do that, get online, follow us on Twitter. We're at the number 4 Horsemen Pod. You can also send us emails, the number 4 Horsemen Pod at gmail.com. Still have not seen anything come through. So thanks anybody that listens. Appreciate that. Brent, I got an email from you, so thanks.
You're welcome. I like sending you stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Before we get into our breakdown, just cover last week's pick'ems. Alex, you were 7-8. Van Cleve was 9-6. Brent was 10-5. I was 11-4. Good job. Year to date, Alex, you're 28-35. The only person under 500. Van Cleve is 33-30. Brent is 34-29, and I am 37-26.
I'm just warming up. I'm a slow start.
Don't worry, dude. There's still time. Plenty of time. Let's get into our breakdown of the games. I don't think that I want to really talk about the Cardinals and 49ers because it's kind of irrelevant because it's going on right now, and we've kind of already touched on some of the important things. So I'm skipping that. The Patriots at Browns, we talked about Brady already. We all picked the Patriots in this game. By the way, on the 49ers, Alex, you were the only one to take the 49ers. Van Cleve, Brent, and I all took the Cardinals. And it's 7-0 49ers still, so it's looking okay for you.
Start off 1-0.
Next, do you guys want to talk about anybody on the Patriots or Browns? We didn't really cover the Browns.
I just want to say that this is one of those games where I'm just like, I really think it's a trap game. People are
could be.
It's set up for disappointment.
This is one of the highest over-unders, or I'm not over-under.
Spreads.
Yeah.
Is it still at 10.5?
10.5 right now, which I think is one of the biggest all season.
Yeah, it's big.
I think it's just hype. Brady's coming back. It might be justified, but at the same time, I'm just like, just scale it down a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you can allow Tyrod Taylor to pass all over with Robert Woods, I mean, there's nothing to say that Cody Kessler or whoever they have back there can't throw the ball to somebody.
Yeah.
I could see it. I know that you're not playing that game script. I could see the Patriots still coming out and just lighting them up.
And I mean, Cleveland's at home too, so.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Do you think Terrell Pryor, is he anything?
I mean, he's the only target other than Barnage.
He's it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Do you start Crowell over anyone this game?
I would probably start Crowell. I mean, right now he's running hard, so I would start him regardless.
Yeah, in season long, I'd start him. I'm not rolling him out in any daily lineups. I'm not focusing on him. I think there's a lot of other better options, but I'm fine starting him in daily leagues. He's been a tremendous value for people, and I think he looks way better than Duke Johnson.
He's averaging over 6 yards a carry right now.
It's crazy.
Second best in yardage in the league. Rushing yards.
It's insane.
Nuts.
Good for him.
Volume too, so it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Next game, guys. Eagles at Lions. We all picked the Eagles on this one. Any players jump out? You starting Stafford? Eagles pass defense has been tremendous.
I'm not starting Stafford. I have him in one league, and I'm starting Eli instead. It's honestly, without that game against Pittsburgh, I probably still start Stafford. But man, I mean, if you can shut down Ben Roethlisberger, I don't know. And until I see a real breakdown from that Philly secondary, I don't really want, especially somebody like Matt Stafford, who's kind of iffy anyway. He's either going to go huge or he's going to go nothing.
Yeah, Eagles defense has looked really good. Like you said, they've been pretty shut down in their pass defense. So
they're really young though. So I mean, I'm not completely saying that it's impossible for Stafford to do something with it, but I mean, they're coming off a bye.
I know with Carson Wentz, he was picked up in a lot of leagues over this week after coming off that bye. People are really liking Carson Wentz, and he's got a perfect matchup going against Detroit. They have one of the worst secondaries. They give up a ton of points to the tight end. So keep your eye on Carson Wentz. I think he's going to have a monster game.
I've put Carson in a few daily lineups. Yeah, so I think it's a good play. You stacking him with Jordan Matthews?
Actually, I did it with Ertz because Detroit has given up, I think, 6 touchdowns in 5 weeks. So,
we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Yeah. Let's move on to the next game, Bears at Colts. Alex is the only person that picked the Bears. Go figure. The 3 homers picked the Colts. It is home game, though, and the Bears haven't been great. Alshon's banged up.
Brian Hoyer, Kevin White being out.
IR'd.
Kevin White being gone now, I think it's going to free up. I mean, he was getting, on average, I think, like 10 to 12 targets a game.
Yeah.
And Alshon, so far this year, has only averaged about 6 targets per game. Where's all those targets going to go? I mean, I think Eddie Royal is going to do what he's been doing. He's still getting like 7 targets, 8 targets a game. But I think Alshon will more evenly come out to around the 10 target range. So it's going to give him a lot more production, a lot more receptions. Hopefully.
They're all kind of banged up, though.
Yeah.
I would look at the tight end position though. Zach Ertz, Zach Miller. I think that he's already been seeing a lot more targets, and I think that without a lot of weapons there, I think that some dump off passes and things like that. Definitely looking for him in the red zone.
Yeah, it'll be another good matchup for Brian Hoyer. I don't see Cutler coming back this week, and Hoyer's been doing
maybe ever.
Yeah, true.
Go to Miami.
What a bum.
You're going to ride that hurricane right into the stadium.
Oh.
I did read on ESPN.com that Alshon Jeffrey, he's 55th in the league right now, wide receiver in targets, but he's 10th in yardage.
Mm-hmm. I saw that same stat.
It's crazy.
So he's getting yards based on the small amount of targets he's getting.
When those targets go up, like you said, Alshon could be a beast.
Yeah, he's tall. He's powerful. He's got good hands. Learn from Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, Bears' pass defense isn't so hot. What do you think of Andrew Luck this week? Pretty good start, I'd say.
Yeah. I don't think – I mean, is anybody really benching Andrew Luck? Even with – I don't think that –
believe it or not, he's almost like the Blake Bortles of last year. He's getting so much garbage time this year because the Colts are down. They're playing from behind the entire second half on most of these games.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck, he's got maybe 80 to 100 yards by halftime, and then he gets over that 300-point mark or 300-yard mark right there by the end of the game, and hopefully a touchdown or two. But
yeah, he's a slow starter.
Playing from behind.
Yeah, and he starts slow. It's just the Colts offense in general just starts slow. I don't know if it takes them a while to figure it out, but they come back and it's too little too late. But it opened up a big, Dorsett had a big catch last week. So could maybe see him do good.
I was listening to a lot of people comparing Lamar Miller and Frank Gore's stat lines this year, and they both have almost the same amount of yardage based on catches.
Ooh.
It was crazy.
Oh God. Not what you not what you paid for, huh?
Is Frank Gore that good, or is Lamar Miller doing that bad?
Okay, Frank Gore's pretty good.
Oh,
Just give him that. He's not bad. He's old, but he's not bad. Dude, Frank Gore's good. Just say that. He's been good.
Frank Gore was good 10 years ago, yes.
It doesn't make you feel good based on where you spent the draft picks, though.
Oh my
Absolutely
gosh.
not.
I don't want to hear any more about Frank Gore and how Indianapolis is good with them at all.
I don't like how they're playing it out. Colts are just putting themselves in a situation where when Frank Gore's gone, that Turbin's that's just Ferguson.
Awful.
They don't have anything.
They're gonna go after Chris Johnson.
Shut up.
That's what they do.
Andrew Luck is taking a quicker rate of sacks this season than any year of his career.
It's ridiculous.
Like, they improved the offensive line, yet he's still taking more sacks. Like, it's really bad in Indy.
You know what they could do? They could send 2 first-round picks over for like Buck Allen or something like that.
Good call, Alex. Good call. That's their offensive line play has been horrible though. If they can give Luck some more time, it still hope that they can work that out. But Luck's still working out for you. If you're starting him, like you said, he just comes on a little bit later, but he's still putting up those stats as of right now, and I don't see any reason why that would be any different this week. Next game on the slate is Titans at Dolphins. We were split 50-50 on this one. Alex and Brent taking the Titans, me and Van Cleve taking the Dolphins. It's in Miami.
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
Have
they been talking about that?
Yeah, they have.
What'd they say?
I'm not sure where they were planning on. I just saw when we were when I was putting in some of the detail or the news, the stock watch, that they were in discussions of what to do. I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it yet.
I heard they might delay the game to like Monday night or something, but
they've done that before.
Yeah.
Titans defense has been letting teams kind of roll on them a little bit. Not been so hot. Are you excited? Would you start Tannehill?
This game sucks. I mean, it's one of those things. Like it could be either way. Honestly, Tannehill. I don't think that anybody shuts down Tannehill more than Tannehill does. Like, Tannehill is just this like crappy version of Phillip Rivers, and goes out there and can throw for 400 yards one week and then 150 the next. He's just so inconsistent. It's a good matchup, but I don't think that really matters for him. You know, I mean, he's got amazing weapons, so much talent around him. It's kind of like Houston, honestly. I mean, I think Houston's a little bit better on their wide receivers, but still, just a lot of talent around there. And just if you roll them out, you're rolling them out because you have nothing else.
Yeah. Weather pending, could you see this being a big Jarvis Landry game? Seems like Titans secondary kind of has a hard time.
Well, I mean, the Titans, they shut down Hopkins last week. The guy only caught one pass, which was middle of the fourth quarter.
Sure.
And he saved your day if you play with tackle points, because you got 2 points because of tackles based on interceptions.
Hopkins hasn't looked good all year, though.
I think it's the quarterback play.
Yeah, it's not that Hopkins looks bad.
Play.
I mean, it's
I don't know how many like throws I saw watching Red Zone where they were to get down into a decent area and just throw it right over his head. How do you overthrow a guy like that? Like, come on.
Osweiler's horrible. He's not good. They paid way too much money. He's a bum.
Yeah.
But moving on. Next game, Redskins at Ravens, another split. Alex and the Van Cleve take the Ravens. Me and Brent taking the Redskins. Brent, what do you like about this game? Why are you going with the Redskins?
I just think Redskins are kind of on a roll right now. They're starting to find a little bit more of their identity and getting a little more balanced on offense, I think. They just lost their safety for the year due to injury, but they just signed a guy that they played with last year, that Goldson. Or is it Dante Hittner or whatever his name is?
Dante Hittner?
Man, that safety I think was better than the one they just lost due to injury. So, but I think they're. I don't know. I think this offense is going to be able to run the ball on Baltimore, and they're going to be able to pass on Baltimore. I think it's more of just a gut feeling. They're very evenly matched teams. They're not great in anything. They're not terrible in anything, but they're just very balanced, I guess. And I just think Washington pulls away with this victory, and Baltimore does not go to 5-0.
It was nice. It was nice to see Reed bounce back. Is what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Alex, what were you going to point out?
I mean, we keep harping on it, but it's going to come down to quarterback play, and I think that Cousins is more likely to screw up than Flacco is. I think that Flacco has a lot of veterans around him, where I know that there's a lot. You've got Garcon and Deshaun Jackson, but there's just something that's just kind of immature about that team. Not necessarily like their attitudes or anything like that. It's just how they play. Like they don't really, like, if they get down, they're just kind of down. Like if Baltimore goes up on 14-0, they're not going to win. That kind of thing. And Kirk Cousins isn't Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck that can lead these amazing charges. I think that if he starts off hot, he's going to finish hot. If he starts out cold, he's going to finish cold.
Do you start Matt Jones? Currently, Matt Jones is the number 1 ranked running back at Pro Football Focus.
Pro Football Focus. Yes, I do think that it's a decent matchup. It's he's coming off of his first really good game, and I don't think he fumbled. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he didn't fumble. So, I mean, roll him out.
Yep, hasn't been bad.
Yeah,
it's fine. Get him out there. Next game's Texans at Vikings. Alex, you're the only person that took the Texans. Me, Van Cleve, and Brent all take the Vikings. So you think the Texans are going to go on the road and do it, huh?
This one seems like not quite the same trap game that Brent was talking about with the Patriots, but I think that this is a game where, because of that defense, we're just assuming that Osweiler is going to just get eaten up and is going to do absolutely nothing. And I think that maybe this is kind of the test game for him, and I'm hoping for the amount of money that they gave him that he kind of pulls through. I don't know. There's so many weapons on that team, and there's just not a lot of weapons on Minnesota. Like, by just law of good players, Houston should win. But
Vikings defenses looked really good.
Yeah, they have. They've shut down everybody.
Stefan Diggs is beating people pretty much on his own over there. Sammy Biscuits is chucking that ball and not looking too bad.
Sammy Biscuits?
Yeah, you ever heard him call that?
I've never.
Actually, I think that's the fantasy footballers calling that.
They call him that. Yep.
Sammy Biscuits. Wow,
I love it.
All right,
Brent, you got anything to talk about with that game?
No, it just worries me. It's hard to roll out Hopkins in a matchup like this, where Minnesota has just shut down Kelvin Benjamin and who they shut down last week.
Odell
Beckham.
Like it's so rough to roll out your stud that you spent a first or a second round pick on, but you have to. It makes me worry.
You can't bench him, right?
You cannot bench him.
You gotta play him. He's gonna have a game. I can still see it. He's still so talented. He's gonna come out and have one of those huge, like 175 yards, 2 touchdown games soon. I'd be buying Hopkins too if you can find people to sell him. Trade your Frank Gore for him, bro. Next game, let's move it on to Jets at Steelers. Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell. The boys are back in town. They're home. Everyone's
going to eat in this game for the Steelers. Like, I just feel it in my bones. It's going to be another huge game for Ben Roethlisberger. That secondary for the New York Jets is not anything that you want to brag about. And Darrelle Revis, he's playing all right, but not against all these weapons in Pittsburgh. Last week they gave up over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to Seattle on a hobbled Russell Wilson, who's on a bum ankle and a bum knee, and that was with Doug Baldwin only getting like 40 yards. So, I mean, I just think this is going to be a huge game for Pittsburgh, especially being at home.
I was watching that Steelers Kansas City game, and I kind of felt bad for the Chiefs.
Oh, it was terrible. Like, I really did. They have a really good defense too.
Yeah, it was awful. I set up a couple DraftKings lineups this week that had Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, and I either put Jesse James in at tight end or Sammy Coates, and that was my flex. And I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah,
it's pretty much.
I've got a bold prediction that Fitzpatrick throws 3 interceptions, and Geno comes in.
Oh, yes, bring Geno in. Fitzpatrick. That.
I mean, I have this feeling that it's going to be one of those situations, and then they're going to go back to Fitzpatrick the next game. They're like, oh, well, he just something wasn't right, blah, 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 just basically pulling them because it's like, okay. Because honestly, if you saw the picks last week, they weren't even his fault. Like, they were tip passes and stuff like that. But that stuff gets in a quarterback's head, and it really gets into Fitzpatrick's. If you watched him at Buffalo, as soon as he got paid, that guy turned into a nightmare.
It's I'm not loving Brandon Marshall this week. I wouldn't recommend him if you got the cojones to sit him.
Well, here, okay, I got to ask you guys a question then. Okay, so I'm about to acquire Emmanuel Sanders. Obviously, I'm going to start him. Do I bench Tajay Sharp? Do I bench Quincy No.
I actually think you should bench Tajay. See, they play Miami, though.
Yeah,
I know.
Every week, though, that Tajay Sharp has a good matchup, that Marcus Mariota has a good matchup, he's really let you down. He's getting targets. He's just
it's Mariota. Well, Mariota can't throw a damn pass.
I was going to say, don't overthink it. Start Sharp. He's getting the targets. It's just, I don't think it's going to – I know the Jets are going to get down big, and they're going to be throwing the ball, is what you're hoping. But Steelers have a pretty – I always get it mixed up. Do they have a good secondary?
No, they have a good running defense.
They have a good running defense. Yeah, I don't know. Anu was so new. You just don't really know. Tajay Sharp's a rookie, but he's been getting tons of looks.
But he's the number one, yeah.
Tons of looks. I don't know. That's a tough one.
If it was me, I'd go with Anunwa.
Well, we're split. So, good luck with that decision. Let's move it on.
Tough.
Let's move it on to the afternoon slate games, the 4 o'clockers. Falcons at Broncos. We all picked the Broncos. I don't know if I said the last game. We all picked the Steelers too, by the way. So
yeah.
But
wow, really? Everybody picked Denver?
Right. I would have thought Van Cleve would have taken the Jets on that one. He hates the Steelers.
Yeah, he did not take the Jets, and he did not take the Falcons. So we all took the Broncos.
Well, I'm going to put Van Cleve down for the Jets.
Perfect. Is this a comeback to earth game for Matt Ryan and Julio Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's simple. Yeah.
I think that
back down to earth, it's only going to be like, 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. For
I don't know about that. Matt Ryan's looked good.
Yeah, he's looked great, and I mean, you're not going to sit him, even though this is a terrible matchup for him. I think that, there has been questions about like some of the either both lines, like the offensive line and the defensive line. I've heard a few questions about, and I think that this might be a matchup where that's kind of busted up a little bit. They might get to Matt Ryan a few times, and if Matt Ryan doesn't have time, we've seen in the last couple of years that he's not going to do very well. So that's kind of why I'm leaning toward Denver.
I mean, you said you're not going to bench Ryan, but what are some quarterbacks you might have that you might, if you were drafting, you drafted Matt Ryan and Derek Carr.
I still have to roll out Ryan. I don't know. I have a hard time.
Really?
I mean, okay, for 4 weeks, he's been a monster.
Yeah.
Derek Carr has been decent to really good.
Yeah.
Do you really say, okay, this is the week where everything falls apart? That's a tough call.
Could be.
You have a lot of balls if you can make that call.
I benched Matt Ryan for Jameis Winston this week in the league.
Oh, disgusting. You're going to wish you hadn't, but okay.
I like it.
I mean, yeah, balls. I'll give it to you.
I
would never do that. I mean, Winston, oh my gosh, the guy is every other week.
I know.
Here's the thing, though, with Atlanta. They've played Tampa Bay week 1. Their defense is crap.
Horrible.
They played Oakland in week 2. Their defense is crap. They played New Orleans in week 3. Crap defense.
Yeah.
And then they just got done playing Carolina last week, and they very much so got exposed. Their defense is lacking.
Their secondary is not good.
Yeah. Without Josh Norman. Yeah.
So now they come in and start playing some maybe tougher defenses that we know are really good. Denver. Yeah. I mean, I still think you could probably count for Matt Ryan with maybe 250 yards and a couple touchdowns. He's almost like a streaming option this week, but he'll be okay. I just don't think he's going to be great like he has been.
Yeah, I'm benching him, so you heard it here first. Let's move on next.
Well, 1 second.
Whoa, what? What you got?
Calm yourself.
Sorry. What you got?
Devontae Freeman, would you start him against Denver's defense?
It depends what my other options were.
Yeah.
Like, lately he's been getting the split with Tevin Coleman, but due to that sickle cell trait with Tevin Coleman, high altitude, I kind of see more so on the Devontae Freeman side where they're dumping off passes a lot more.
I saw that too. So is it? Are they sure that he's not playing?
I don't understand.
Well, he is going to play, he said, but they have to monitor him very closely because you can get like sharp pains like real quick being in a high altitude, and it has to do with like overheating and stuff like that. But you have to stay like really, really hydrated, but they're saying they're probably going to limit his work in this game.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't play, like you said, I could see Devonta Freeman being pretty much a just absolute workhorse, getting those dump offs, getting any runs that they get. I could feel okay with it. I mean,
he's a big starter. It kind of depends on like what you said. Do you have a DeMarco Murray? Do you have Isaiah Crowell? Like those kind of players that maybe you feel a little bit better about the matchups. But it's hard to sit him because he's a top 10 back. It's hard to look at him, just like what we were saying with Ryan. It's hard to make that call and say, okay, there's going to be no offense or no running offense from this team. I don't know.
I guess I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on it, just because if there is going to be less work for Tevin Coleman, there might be more work for Freeman going forward in this game.
Yeah, because originally when I was looking at lineups like for DraftKings, I wasn't too turned off by Tevin Coleman until I started reading that stuff about him, and I hadn't really read anything that it was definitely going to keep him out, but I didn't realize that it was sickle cell, so it sucks. It sucks for him.
Yeah.
Good for Devonta Freeman this week. Next game, Bengals at Cowboys. We actually all picked the Bengals, all four of us.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. It's in Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know, like
they face a real team.
Yeah,
finally.
I just think game flow wise, this could easily go one of two ways. Being at home in Dallas, I could see Dallas kind of controlling the clock like they always do, and they get down to the goal line, and it could be that like 27-24 kind of game. Or I could see the flip side where Cincinnati kind of exposes Dallas's defense, and then they have to abandon the run earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas might have to focus more on Dak Prescott throwing to his receivers, and that will definitely not be a good thing.
Yeah, that I could see that happening.
I'll tell you right now what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for Carlos Dunlap coming off the edge, snapping Dak attack in half, and then he doesn't play the rest of the season, and we have to watch Mark Sanchez for the Dallas Cowboys.
You're the only one that wants to see. You're not the only one that wants to see it, but only one I think out of us. But let's move on. Next game, Bills at Rams. We're split on this one as well. Alex and Brent, you guys are taking the Bills. Me and Van Cleve taking the Rams. Why? Why are you guys taking the Bills? Just because?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. It's because I have a love for my mother. Plain and simple.
That is not my reason, though.
If not, are you sure? What's your reason there, Brent?
Because I look at LA and I see their record at 3-1, and I'm not a believer.
It's bull crap. It is bull crap.
I'm not a believer. And then Buffalo, they came across. Didn't they start out 0-2, and now they're 2-2?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're turning the corner now. Their defense is really starting to come around. And then their offense, even though they lost Sammy Watkins, it still was pretty efficient last week against New England's tough defense. So I really think Buffalo has a way better running game. LA has a better defense, but I think Buffalo's defense is going to stifle the Rams' offense for sure.
Yeah, and the Rams are one of those teams that I feel like we're gonna be talking about at the end of the season. It's like, oh yeah, they started out 3-1 and then they ended up 7-9. I don't think that they're a very strong team. I think they've had a couple of, obviously from what we've seen, Arizona is an easy matchup, which seemed like, honestly, I think a lot of people had Arizona's defense a little bit better. But I think that right now Buffalo is a good defense, and I don't think they're going to be able to stop McCoy. I think that Tyrod is going to do enough to get the job done. I don't see this as a big game that you're getting excited about starting any players, because it could be 7-3, 14-10, something along those lines. It's going to be a
low-scoring game.
Yeah.
I like starting both of these defenses.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. DSTs
even in daily, like either one of these defenses, I think is a lock for some points. So,
and I think you have to start the running backs simply because of how you drafted them.
Yeah, I think that's a fine call.
And they use McCoy a lot in the passing game too.
Yeah,
Gurley, he was starting to get used in the passing game last week. It'd be nice to see that continue, but we'll see what happens.
David Johnson just scored a touchdown, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo!
He's got 75 yards and a touchdown. Arizona was actually...
We're still in the first half, right?
No, second half. But Arizona was getting ready to kick a field goal, and San Francisco got a running into the kicker penalty, gave him a first down, and David Johnson ran the next one in. Also, it was Arizona kicking off to the 49ers, and they fumbled the kickoff. So now it's starting to look like we're good about the Cardinals call. So last 4 p.m. game is Chargers at Raiders. We all picked the Raiders. We've kind of already touched on this game. Melvin Gordon's look good.
Yeah. I think that it's just Phillip Rivers is the kind of the metronome for that team, and I have a feeling they shut down this week. They should have been amazing for a couple of weeks, and they've kind of been iffy. Like they should have destroyed New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think their defense should be better than what it is, but I don't know.
It's just not.
Yeah, I saw this matchup for Derek Carr and his wide receivers, and I loved it. I was like, this is going to be a great matchup against San Diego Chargers. It's at home in Oakland. And then San Diego lost their top cornerback for the season. And I'm like, oh, hell yes. Derek Carr is going to light these guys up. It is not going to be close. I really think Oakland could put up 40-plus points this week.
I think I did a daily stack. I think I did a stack with Derek Carr and I think Crabtree. You not like Crabtree?
I think this could be Cooper's blow-up game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking too. Cooper could eat this game. I'm loving it.
Dude, Cooper, he stepped out of bounds on that long touchdown they had earlier in the season. He's had Derek Carr's missed him on a couple pretty big throws. He very easily could be added another 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It's possible. I'm not suggesting that like
Yeah, and
that
Crabtree
he's
hasn't been
bad.
bad. I don't want to say that either.
But Crabtree's getting 7 to 8 catches a game. That's the big thing. In PPR, I'm looking at that and saying, okay,
sure.
I know that he's getting a little more volume. Now,
Yeah.
I when all is said and done, I think Amari Cooper's going to end up with way more yards. He might not end up with more catches though. So it just it's kind of what you're looking at. I think both of them have a good. I could see both of them going for 75 yards plus and maybe having a touchdown apiece.
Well, I was going to say this is another one in DraftKings where I could see you actually starting both Cooper and Crabtree, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
I really like Cooper this week, though. He's one of my top plays. So I like that, Brett. Good call.
Yep.
Let's move it on to the Sunday night game, Giants at Packers. We all took the Packers, so none of us have faith in Eli, I guess. But could you see this being a shootout game?
Not really. I kind of see this as a low-scoring game, even though I think the Packers, they're coming off the bye, and they're at home, and it is prime time. And the last few times that Green Bay has come off bye and been in a prime time game, I've not been impressed. They really don't put up a lot of points. And
I'm going
2 weeks ago. They finally started showing an offense again, but I don't know. I think this could be a good Eddie Lacy game, but I'm not sold on the passing game for this one.
Personally, I'm going 42-10 Green Bay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I honestly think that they found kind of a little bit of what was lacking, and I think that they kind of they're going to be those people that freaked out about Aaron Rodgers, freaked out about Jordy Nelson, and I think that it's going to pay off. The Giants, those first couple weeks, that was all smoke and mirrors because one, New Orleans is not as good of an offense as we assumed they were. So the fact that they shut them down isn't that big of a deal at this point. And that passing offense just can get stopped with, I don't know. What do you guys think is wrong? Why do you think that they can't? I mean, it seems like Sterling Shepard is getting a lot of, catches and stuff like that, but is Beckham just not as good?
It's all going to be Rashad Jennings. He played the first 2 weeks and they won. He hasn't played the last 2 weeks and they've lost. That's got to be it, right?
There's one thing as an Eagles fan is that I could care less about Washington, and I know that we're going to beat the Giants. That's basically how it is because Eli's not as good as people think he is. He just isn't as good. I mean, I have to start him because it's either him or Stafford, and I like his matchup better than what Stafford has. But if I had another quarterback that wasn't Stafford this week, I would probably start him over Eli.
I will say, though, Green Bay's defense will be without their top cornerback. Sam Shields still getting over a concussion. They've already ruled him out. So that could be a lot of points scored for the Giants, which means Green Bay could be in comeback mode quite a bit. So I would like that, though.
I don't know. I could see it being a high-scoring game both sides. I kind of hope Odell gets his crap together, gets it all figured out. He's just worry about him. He's got that mental edge. I feel like that he's just about to completely lose his shit.
Did you hear the team might suspend him over his antics and
really
tantrums?
I hadn't seen that.
Wow. Please, God, no. Oh, my gosh. I've lost Sammy Watkins, Josh Gordon, Dante Moncrief for crying out loud.
That would be
terrible. I think
terrible.
it's more of a threat than an actual thing. But
we're going to ground you if you don't get better grades.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually kind of excited for that game. I'm glad it's Sunday night. I think it'll be a good one. Monday night, Bucks at Panthers. We are all taking the Panthers. I already said that I'm going to start Jameis in the league. What you guys got? Any players that jump out?
I wouldn't worry about. I mean, if you have Cam Newton, he's kind of matchup proof, so you definitely play him. But
if he plays,
if he plays. If Derek Anderson is in there, though, I'm not worried at all. I'd almost start Derek Anderson against Tampa Bay too because they've got playmakers in Carolina. But I think it'll be a a passing clinic all over the place in this game. I wouldn't trust any of these running backs at all in this game.
And honestly, Anderson's looked good in that offense. You know, the times that he's been in, he's looked good, and he looked good last week too. I mean, he had, you know, a decent stat line for the time that he was in there. So, you know, if you have this space, give it a shot.
It's going to be hard in that. I think you almost have to have Cam as your quarterback to feel safe. It's Monday night. Like, if you're relying on that, what happens if, you know, right before the game, because they don't have to release it until an hour before the game. If they say Cam's playing, then you're left with nothing.
Okay.
But
if you have, I'm trying to think, if you have Jameis Winston and you're not feeling good about it,
sure, yes,
you know,
I'm fine with that one too. If you have Winston and you wait until Monday night, that's a fine situation. But pretty much if you have any other quarterback, I'm not going to feel comfortable setting somebody that's playing Sunday to depend on Anderson.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
See what I mean?
Yeah,
so I think it's a great start.
Yeah.
If he plays, I would feel 100% great with it. If I knew that he was going to be the starter, Tampa Bay
situationally,
they suck, but
you're right. You have to have either Winston or Newton to pick him up and feel okay with it, because otherwise, then you may have just sat all of your quarterbacks.
You're not going to feel good about that, because even in a league, the one that we were talking about where I picked up Hoyer this week, that's what I was looking at. I was like, if Cam doesn't play, I could pick up him. I'm not chancing it. It's not worth it. But that's our last game for week 5. Let's get into our daily stuff. I want to talk a little daily sports here. If we look, we started our 4-person league last week. Alex, you came out victorious. Good job, buddy. Not a great score, 136.52.
No.
I came in last, 115.84. It was not very good first showing for us all, but you got Mark Ingram 22.5, DeMarco Murray 25.9, Melvin Gordon 24.9, Jimmy Graham 20.39 was a great call. Van Cleve ended up coming in second at 127.62 points, completely bailed out by starting Julio Jones, who scored 51. So I just want to say, if he wouldn't have started anybody else, he would have been by far the worst out of all of us. So,
he already is. But
he is. We know, and we can say it right now. And there's nothing he can do about it.
Nothing he can do about it.
But instead of us just going through and dumping our lineups on everybody, I just wanted to ask you guys to a position and tell me who your favorite of that is. It can be a value. It can be somebody that you're paying up to get. Alex, who is your favorite quarterback?
You know, I now I'm looking at this. I stacked Eli and Odell Beckham after I just trashed.
That's what you do, man.
Yeah. But I'm not changing it, because I've already once I lay it down, if I go back on it, then I feel like crap. If I screwed up from the get-go, I'm fine with it. It's like I went with my gut. I mean, you know, completely contradicting what I just said. You know, Eli is going up against, you know, a team that, you know, allowed Sam Bradford to kind of rip them apart with one wide receiver. You know, so there is the chance. Another thing is that they're almost going to force the ball to Odell Beckham Jr., I think, this week. I think it's going to be this happens so often with wide receivers. They complain about their workload. Then all of a sudden they get 12 targets, go for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns.
They won't have to force it to Odell Beckham at all. He'll be open the entire game. Remember last game that the last team that played Green Bay? That'd be Marvin Jones.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's another. Yeah. So they have allowed, you know, a wide receiver to go big. You know, I think that if I don't know, I like the price, 6,000. You know, I went really cheap, you know, and running backs and things too, to kind of get Odell Beckham in there. I went a little more heavy on my wide receivers though. So I mean, that's one reason.
Yeah. Hey, just so you guys know, Larry Fitzgerald just caught his second touchdown of the night. So
Of course.
Wow, Drew Stanton.
He's
Is he
dude,
for real? He's
he's
doing
Oh,
better
no.
than
I should have picked him up.
doing better than Palmer.
I'm facing Brian this week too.
Oh no.
Uh,
So I was gonna have Van Cleve talk about running backs, but since he abandoned us 20 minutes before the podcast, we could just kind of collectively talk about it.
mhm.
I was gonna give my, because I won't go first because I'm thinking everybody else is on the same page, but I love Jordan Howard again this week. He was an easy
Mhm.
start last week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, going against Indy, 5,200. His price went up a little bit, but I pretty much every lineup I have Jordan Howard in it. There's normally like one or two players that I have across the board, and a lot of them. Jordan Howard is my guy this week. He's my Melvin Gordon of past. I've moved on to Jordan Howard now.
Yeah, I
What-
have him in a couple.
Just a question for you guys: when you guys play daily, do you guys ever feel like trapped almost, like when you're like? I feel like when guys have a huge week that prior week, all of a sudden I'm more trying to lean against trying to take that player the next
Yeah.
week in daily because I don't want to make my decision on hype alone.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I'm doing with Jordan Howard almost. Like he had such a great performance
Sure.
coming out his first week as starter. I feel like people are going to jump on board with that cheap player, and he's going to be more owned than not owned, I think.
Yeah, and
You
I
guys
don't
feel
think
that
he's
way?
a
Like-
yeah, I don't think he's a great tournament play. I think in cash games though, looking
Right.
through him, he's still a really, really good cash play. And I'm fine with that. I do the same thing though when you're looking at him and you don't want to have that hype of last week. Like I probably won't be playing much Julio this week.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wish I would have played him last week, but this week I will not.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get away, like you said.
I think that one thing is that you kind of get stuck taking an obvious like matchup where you know everybody's going after that guy.
Mhm.
I think that that's one thing that you have to look at too is that it's like, okay, is everybody going to be playing this guy? That's a little bit of a problem that I see when I'm going through. It's like, oh yeah, obviously this guy. Wait, is everybody thinking that?
Right.
Because one guy that I'm looking at super cheap right now, only 4,800 is Terrence West.
Yep.
I mean, right now, I know that Dixon might be coming back, but they're not going to give him a full workload right off the bat. They're going to ease him into the offense. He's been out for 6 weeks, 7 weeks or so total. So I think that Terrence West, I mean, he's the only guy there at this point. He is the guy, and that's kind of what we've been waiting for from the Ravens is somebody that's the guy. And this week, he's the guy.
Well, and like you said, though, like he had a big game last week, so you're going to see him played. But I think that the Dixon hype, him coming up, is enough that some people are going to fade away from that, not wanting to start him. So I think that's a good start.
Yeah, agreed.
Brent, I was going to ask you about wide receivers, buddy. Who's your favorite this week?
Well, going back to running back real quick, I just wanted to throw out there maybe a James White too. With Brady coming back, he likes to throw it to the running back.
That's true.
So
that's true.
He
James
does.
White is only 3,900 on DraftKings, which going against Cleveland, I think that could be a great matchup.
That's a big risk reward one right there. Is that
that's a tournament play.
It's either you're going to get like 35 points, or you're going to get 0.4.
And you could almost switch him out and put LeGarrette Blount in too if you wanted.
Yeah,
they're pretty close in price, within probably about 800 to 1,000. But and then I think a lot of people are going to probably be jumping on board with DeAndre Washington too. Now that Davis is probably not going to play. DeAndre Washington only $3,400 going up against the 31st worst rushing defense in San Diego.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, now back to the question that I actually asked you.
I don't care what you asked me.
What about wide receivers? Who are you looking at?
I think there are so many good plays at the top end of wide receivers this week. Kind of like Alex was saying, you kind of got value in some of the other positions, but I think you spend the money on wide receivers this week. I really like A.J. Green against Dallas, and I like Antonio Brown. He's probably the most expensive player out there right now, but Antonio Brown against the Jets, being at home again, I think Pittsburgh's just going to jump all over the Jets, and Antonio Brown is going to have a huge game.
Yes. I
If
love
you're
Antonio
looking for
Brown.
value, I like Eddie Royal. He's only
Yep.
4,200. He's still getting targeted. He had 7 catches for 111 and a touchdown last week. He's still got the same quarterback throwing to him again this week against kind of a poor Indianapolis passing defense. So I really think if Vontae Davis is covering Alshon Jeffrey, that Eddie Royal is going to get a ton of targets in this game. So great value play there.
Do you hear that Indy dumped Cromartie and some other guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like, what are you, okay, whatever.
Well, I mean, he was terrible. So,
well,
like,
I mean, is he more terrible than the guys behind him?
Yes.
I mean,
he's not good. That's why nobody else picked him up. He's just,
yeah.
Did you watch any of that? He sucks.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, he was bad.
And like, I could care less about the kneeling thing at this point, really. Like, I get it, what they're doing. I don't care about cutting him for that. I was great that they cut him for just sucking, for being terrible.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Any other wide receivers you guys got jumping out? What about Chris Hogan this week? $4,100. We've been talking about New England. Could this be somewhere where Brady's looking to chuck the ball deep and it's not Edelman in the middle? Maybe Hogan breaks off a couple big ones. Maybe a good turn play.
Amendola before Hogan, but I
probably
it could go either or. I mean, it could go to anybody in New England's offense, honestly.
The reason I think Hogan, maybe it's just, he's new to the team this year. Brady hasn't really had the chance yet to come out and chuck the ball deep. Maybe his arm's going to fall off if he goes out there and throws. But
it could be Malcolm Mitchell. It could be Martellus Bennett. It could be, I don't know.
I really hope. The thing is that I've made fun of Van Cleve so much. What?
What's happening?
She's got the lights turned on. I've made fun of Van Cleve so much for Malcolm Mitchell that every single time I see Malcolm Mitchell touch the ball, I have this sinking feeling in my stomach because I don't think I've ever poured it on that thick as what I've said that he made a terrible pick in grabbing him. So I hope he doesn't catch him.
I don't think he will. So I'm going to go ahead and give you just a couple tight ends. And then we'll wrap this bad boy up. I really want to talk about defenses too much because the Vikings are a good start this week. Other than that, like, I was having a hard time with it.
I like Pittsburgh. Fitzpatrick is going to be throwing interceptions.
Yeah, that's true.
Pittsburgh. What about Dolphins defense?
I like the Eagles defense.
Well, we talked about Buffalo and LA.
Yep.
Yeah, either one of those.
A lot of good defenses this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kept getting myself stuck. I've been playing a lot of Vikings this week, but it's probably going to bite me in the ass. Tight end wise, though, I don't see myself paying up in any of my lineups. I've been going down because I think there's a lot of good starts, especially Zach Ertz, which we kind of talked about.
Yep,
I think 3,500.
Yeah.
So cheap. And
for a guy that's a number 2 pass catcher on that offense
against the Lions, who cannot defend tight ends at all.
I love Zach Ertz, the tight end this week. Love him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite start. Other than that, Jesse James, I've got in a couple at 2,900 against the Jets. I think that could be high scoring. Cameron Brate.
Yeah.
Yep.
2,900 plays Monday night at the Panthers. If you're in a Monday night slate, that could be a good one. I like to have a Monday night player in those kind of things, just in case when it gets to there, I still have somebody going. If I can get a good deal, I kind of use that as like my tiebreaker because I love Monday night players. But yeah, you guys got anything else to add?
No, I mean, I think it's going to be a wide receiver. You can pay. I think you can pay lower for some of these running backs because we've got some rookies or some kind of changing of the guard kind of players out there, and so I think that the smartest bet is to put your money in the wide receivers. I even have a wide receiver in my flex, and that's honestly for me that's a little bit unusual. I usually go with running back in my flex.
I wanted to find it on here. I got a lineup that I set up that I put Brown, Beckham, and I think Jordy in as my 3 wide receivers.
Wow.
And just built the cheapest ass lineup around that I could. It was interesting. It kind of turned out a little terrible, but
You started Derek Anderson.
it was. Hey, it could work, and that's like you were saying though. I think that the upper echelon of the wide receivers this week are really good plays.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. If you guys don't have anything else, let's go ahead and close this bad boy out. Without Van Cleve, we were able to keep it a little bit shorter this week. So
it's his fault.
yeah,
We know.
Basically, we're an hour and 5 minutes. So, but thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. Like I said, jump on Twitter, follow us, #4 Horsemen Pod. Get on, email us. I'm telling you, I'm getting sick and tired of Brent being the only one that emails me. So, #4 Horseman Pod at gmail.com. Peace.